welcome to A Walk in My Shoes. It's good to see you. It's good to have you guys here. Today we have a special guest with us. I'm excited. I'm really pumped talking to her behind the scenes. Amazing. She is a producer and a TV presenter. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give a warm, happy welcome to Augustina Lotts. Augustina Lotts. Yes, Augustina, how are you?
Very good, and you?
Yes, good. Thank you for taking time.
Yes, thank you.
I'm great. I'm great. Thank you so much. So, tell us what you do, or an overview of.
So I'm a broadcaster. I do some TV production. I also an anchor. I used to work for Univision in Florida, and that has always been a passion of mine. You know, communications in any sense and bringing people what they need to know. That's my passion. So that's what I do.
So how did this start? Like, did you know you wanted to be a producer or a TV broadcaster growing up, or was this just something you saw and said, "Hey, that's me"?
You know, I was always a very artistic child. Always, you know, liking to dress up and you know put makeup on. And,
Yes.
Always loved all that. But I remember when I was very, very young. I was only 8 years old. There was this new children radio station. It was a radio station for kids, and I used to listen to it a lot. And I started, you know, calling them first, asking for music. You know, I want to listen to this song. I don't know if you remember.
So was this here in Columbus?
No, this was in Argentina.
Oh, in Argentina.
So,
okay.
Going back,
Awesome.
I lived most of my life in Argentina.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Salta. It's a very small town in Argentina.
Oh, awesome.
And I moved to the United States when I was 23 years old.
Awesome.
So this was back in Argentina.
So in Argentina, you heard this radio station that you liked.
Yes,
Right?
and it was, you know, meant for kids only. And I started calling them, and then I started, you know, just like reading random stuff to them on the phone, you know, just to see like somebody's gonna say like, oh, this girl is so good, let's you know, let's hire her.
Yes.
So silly me, I was only eight years old, but of course they never asked me to join their team. So I was brave enough one day to say like, hey, I would love to be on your show. Can I go? Can I have an interview? And I remember making a folder with all this stuff that I was interested in. I remember that, like I made a
you were 8
binder.
years
I was
old?
8 years old. My mom and dad, you know, drove me there. I just talked to somebody. I'm sure they laugh about just like me coming with my binder and showing them what I wanted to do. And they told me that I was too young. You know, I was 8 years old. So they say, you know, most of the kids that have their shows here, they're like 14, 15. But we can definitely like put you in one of the shows, you know, and just, you know, you can like say some stuff here and there. So yeah, they just, you know, put me in one of the shows with a girl. She was 15 at the time, and I started, you know, giving like saying jokes and guessing games, you know. That's all I did, and it was a great experience.
How was it on your first time? Was it like nervous? Were you
I was
like
terrified just because you know it was a real studio, a real you know, I had the operator on the other side, you know.
Yes.
So I was scared, but I was also so thrilled of doing it. It was just like the funnest game, you know.
Wow. So then from the radio, how did you transition from TV?
So from that small experience that I had as a kid, then I was able to do a small radio show every weekend with my best friend when I was in high school. So it was again radio. I was a teenager at the time, so just put in like the fun music that we, you know, used to listen. And then when I went to college, I started with journalism. I used to write a lot. I used to enjoy reading the news, and then I studied like broadcasting. And when you go to broadcasting school, they teach you both radio and
radio
TV.
And broadcast. Okay.
So I started noticing that I really like to be in front of the camera, and you know, I enjoy kind of like seeing the after product, you know.
Yes, of course.
And people start noticing that that maybe, you know, I was a little bit better at TV than radio, and I think it's like my voice is like very like squeaky, and I don't know if people can listen to me all day, but maybe in camera I was a little better. So that's when I decided to pack my bags, from the small town that I grew up with and grew up where I grew up, sorry.
Yes.
And
No.
then go to Buenos Aires, that is the capital of Argentina, and that's where I
Okay.
went to, where I finished college there, just because, it was.
And you started TV there.
I started TV there, yes. Just like
Wow.
small little things. But then very short after I graduated from college, I moved to the United States.
Okay.
So that's when things change a lot, just because of the language barrier.
Of course.
I did not.
Whole new.
I did not know how to speak in English.
Yes.
It was very hard for me.
But did you study English in Argentina?
I did
or
as a child. Yes, my parents
Okay.
used to send me to private, English,
Private classes? Okay,
private
yes.
classes. That I'm so appreciative of that opportunity,
Yeah.
because.
Oh man, thank you,
Yes,
mom and dad.
yes, because I
you.
wouldn't be able to be speaking with you right now if I didn't have that
Awesome.
experience.
So can you give me what you do in a day of work? So when it was time to showtime, here we go in 3, 2.
So there was a lot of preview,
like- Yes. So give us the back scenes.
So,
like what you have to do, what you have to prepare.
I always like to be prepared. Like we will have to find the stories. We will have to write the stories. Like I always work for like small stations and small
Okay.
channels. So everything you have to do it yourself.
So, because when I look at the TVs and the stories, I just see them, read a teleprompter or.
Yes.
So you're the one that had to look, find the stories.
So first, find compelling stories. Like I said, since I moved to the United States, I had to. I work for the Hispanic community because I speak
Okay.
Spanish. So I will look for stories that were like compelling for our Hispanic
Yes,
community.
of course.
And then. Investigate very well all the facts, and then just write everything down.
Okay.
Make sure that it will fit on the time frame that we needed, and then I did use the teleprompter because
Yes.
my memory is not very very good. So for me it was easier just to put my story on the teleprompter and read it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's there's a lot to do.
So on like your first day. So your first day, like your first time you ever had to do it. How did that go as far as?
It went good. I remember. So my first time in
Did
Univision.
you sleep that night? Or were you?
I was very excited, and no, usually when I have something very exciting, I do not
Yes.
sleep because I start practicing myself, everything on my mind,
Yes,
and
of
I
course.
just wake up super early, and my mind is just like rehearsing, everything that
just
I'm
going
gonna say.
over and over, same story.
So I remember. I had to give the news like at 6 a.m. So I had to be, in the channel that. Luckily, I have to tell you that story. Luckily, it was like super close to my house. It was only like 5 minutes away.
Okay.
So, but I was there at 5 a.m. Even though everything was at 6.
Yes.
And the first couple of times it was hard. And even seeing myself, I was so like a robot and no emotion and so
Yeah.
scared that my hands wouldn't move. I was all tight, But with practice, it takes a lot of practice, and you need so much confidence.
Yeah. Where did you find that confidence, or how did you?
I don't know. As soon as you turn on a light, I just feel like I
Yes.
transform myself. But then you put the lights out and you
When you
put
turn
the
the light-
camera away,
yes.
and then I'm just like
See, that's how I
shy.
feel when I go to the bathroom. I have these lights. I'm like, man, I'm just. And then I leave the bathroom. I'm like, man.
What I'm going to tell you is very silly.
Yes.
I used to do theater and drama a lot. And
Okay.
I used to be as a child a lot in like plays and different stuff. And you know how you have like, I think it's called the setting towel, like the light that like the spotlight on your face.
Yes.
And I remember the feeling until my days now that I don't do
Yeah.
theater anymore, of having that warm light on my face,
Oh,
you know?
super hot.
So now every time I drive and I'm singing on my car and I have the sun on my face, I'm like, oh, I have my spotlight, you know?
Yeah, it brings you back
It
to
brings
that
me back to
time.
the time when I used to be on the stage.
That's so awesome. Man, that's so great. So you did that here for how many years, or how long have you been on the producing?
So
or
it's
editing?
been 3 years in
Wow.
Univision.
Okay.
That changed once we moved to Columbus.
Okay.
But it was funny because when I first moved to Jacksonville, Florida, I used to live in Cleveland, Ohio. Then I moved to Jacksonville, Florida, and I found an office job, and that was what I was doing. I used to work for a hospital,
Okay.
and I remember driving back home and seeing the little symbol from Univision in like
In the cars, in the bumper.
no,
Or-
in an office. It was like an office.
Oh,
And
really?
I'm like, oh, is that like Univision office? And I'm like,
Yeah.
my heart, was like, I can't believe, like, I'm just gonna, just like go there, knock the door with my
Yes.
with my resume. I'm just gonna show them my videos.
Just like when
and
you were 8
stuff.
years old.
Exactly.
Here we go.
There's no other way. So
Yes.
if people is not gonna stop you on the streets and say like, hey, do you want to work for me? Like most of
course, you're the
most
one.
of the time you have to go and knock
Yes.
the doors. So I did that. I'm like, I started investigating everywhere. I found an email of a person that was the director of the channel. So I started sending him like videos, pictures, articles that I have written for newspapers and stuff, and I'm like, I do all this. I want to work for you. What do I need to do? So I got
Really?
an
Interview, and you
with
just
him,
got-
and I was able to get there that way. But it's just like when God
Yeah.
puts something on your,
That's
and,
right.
it's like I couldn't believe, like it was like right driving to my house. If my house wasn't there, I would have never had that opportunity. So
Yeah.
it's just crazy how that works.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time, I believe, because I've seen some on YouTube bloopers, where something went wrong, like
Yes, and it happens a lot. Like
Does it?
Pronouncing names, wrong.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest fear. Or if you are giving the news about a politician and you said it wrong, and then you don't
Yes.
want to do that. You don't want to look like this person that doesn't know what she's talking about. So,
Yes.
but things like that happen, that you tripped, or like wardrobe, like something misfunction or something. But
Yeah.
the only thing you can do is just smile, keep going, because
Yeah.
if you just make it more noticeable,
yeah, then it's gonna be more noticeable.
worse.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
so
right.
just
Yeah,
keep going, laugh. We all make mistakes, and people know that we're human and we make mistakes. So it's better if you just like
Yeah. Just
keep going.
shake it off
Hey,
and move
I'm
it on.
sorry.
So you said you had to do everything on the producing,
Yes,
TV,
TV,
editing.
yes. So we had only a person that will help us with the filming, like will be like behind the camera and with the lights and helping us, like maybe with a teleprompter. But then everything else was on us. That
Okay.
is great. I think nowadays you need to know how to
Oh,
do
yeah, it
everything.
helped you out
helped
to
me
just
out.
Get a perspective on everything.
Yes, and
what
I'm
needs
telling
to
you, I'm
happen.
not really good at editing. I'm very slow, but I like doing it. And I think like if I would do it more, I would get like better
Yes,
at it.
but you know how to do it. Huh?
But I know how to do it.
It takes time,
Yeah,
but
it
you know
takes
how to
time,
do it.
Yes.
Good. So the stories, is this stories that you had to follow as far as what was going on, I don't know, Jacksonville, or
it's like now with the coronavirus that is going on right now, you have to be informed. You have to be following that, because it changes. And it's like you have to be prepared for it. So yes.
So I have a question, because do you get ideas from other news, or do you kind of see how, I like how they did that, or
Oh yes.
maybe
I think like we. I
Feel
want
like
to be
it.
myself, I want
Yes,
to be
of course.
authentic, and I want people to see me as who I am, and I just want to show that, and it's good, it's like I think like differences are good, and I want to be my authentic self, but at the same time, we learn from others,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, and I don't know it all, so I need to see others, so if they're doing it better than I am, like how can I get there,
Yes.
so the only way is just like getting motivated by others, and there's a lot of people that I always like follow, or that
And that's good. Who was your role model, or who was someone that you looked up to as far as when you were going through this?
I
Someone
think
that helped you.
to be honest, I didn't have like a person, but I always for women it's so different, because usually in the past, now it's changing. It was always like men's are always in front of everything and every company and every show and every like always
That's
was
right.
a man, you know, men.
I was just kidding.
But if there was ever, you know, a woman, you know, in the station, I would always like look at them and, you know, or try to read about the story, how they got there, like why they're doing what they're doing, and just like get inspired about them, because every journey is different. And sometimes people sees you and they think like, oh, everything works for her. Oh, she always gets it. Everything's perfect. But no, that's like a lie. You know, we all go through things. We all had to work for it. So that's why I like, you know, like seeing others and learning about others' journeys, just because I'm like, oh wow, they had it really hard. If they were able to accomplish that, I can do it. You know, so it
that's
gives me
good.
that
that's really good. You relate. You kind of come on with that person. Yeah, that's awesome. Guys, thank you for watching A Walk in Your Shoes. We're here with Augustina Lotts. Thank you again for taking time with us. Let's go back to where you grew up and how did you end up here?
So
you
like
you're
I
from
said,
Argentina?
I'm from Argentina.
Yes.
I
From
grew up in a
Argentina?
very small city, very conservative city.
So you said you started at 8 years old.
With radio,
like with
yes,
this,
like it was
with
super
radio.
neat.
So were you like into this, or did you not play? You know, like I don't know, sports or you know things like that. Were you just like?
I was always, and I'm terrible at sports. You throw a ball to me, and I would just like do this, you know. Like if I have to throw it, it will just go everywhere. Like I don't know how to run, don't know how like. I will get bad scores at school, and I will have to like retake exams just because I wasn't able to run correctly. I would just jump, and the teacher was like, "No, run!" But I'm like, I just my body was not made for like sports. So yeah, it was not good. But I used to sing. I used to dance. A lot of theater, like I said before. So that was my life was always like on the artistic side, and a lot of reading, a lot of radio. I remember like just falling asleep, like listening to like the radio, just because I was always scared as a child. So anything that would like put my mind in something else, just so I wouldn't be scared.
So would you practice at home, like if you were at a radio station? Or
oh yes.
Like, yes.
I used to practice a lot in front of the mirror. I think like the mirror was like my.
So I have a question. Okay, I don't know. Do you get 2 mirrors and see a different angle of yourself and then smile?
I used to do that.
Not that I do that, of course.
I used to do that a lot, just to see how my profile looks, and I'm like, wow, is that what people see of me? Like,
exactly.
Is that my nose?
See, because I do that. I tell the guys that I, get 2 mirrors, see a different view, and that's what I say. Wow, this is what people see. What? No. Oh.
Yes, poor. But yes, I used to practice a lot, and very funny now that I'm like remembering all my,
all memories.
My memories.
Yeah.
I remember like. Practice like like what we're doing right now, like interviews and stuff, but I remember doing it in English too. I don't know why, how crazy it is that I used to do it in Spanish, but I used to practice my English that way, in front of the mirror, and it was just like fun, for me. I would put, of course, all my toys, just like my audience, just looking at me, and all those things that kids do.
How were your parents when you were doing this, or you were interested? Were they in favor, or were they like,
they were.
You've lost it.
They always in favor,
Oh,
like
really?
my parents, they always knew that it was such a big passion of mine, so they were always super supportive. Every single class that I wanted to take, they were there driving me everywhere. I think they were taxi drivers. And,
well, Dad, Mom, it paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. So yeah, definitely, I feel very fortunate for having that.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, so from Argentina, you said you went to Jacksonville?
Yes.
Is that
well,
where?
so
or?
From Argentina, I went to Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Cleveland.
Yes, and
okay.
when I went to Cleveland, I was very lucky to find a Latin radio station. It's still there, La Mega 87.7. That's the name of the radio station.
La
La
Mega.
I met really cool people there that they opened the doors to me. I was able to have a show there.
I'm sorry, so I have a question. So you said they were there. Did you find them, or did they find
Yes.
That's
It's always, I feel like people need to, if you really want something, you have to work for it.
and you're gonna see it all the time.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
like,
So it doesn't matter where you are.
yes, and it's like, okay, I knew that my English was not very good, and I cannot go knock the door, and not be able to
Yes.
present myself because I don't know how to speak in English. So I started searching, is there a Latin, or Hispanic radio
Yes.
station? Is there a Hispanic newspaper? So again, calling, sending emails,
Yes.
always trying to make myself visible.
Yeah.
Nothing that happened to me would have happened if I didn't knock doors.
you didn't put
If
work
I,
in.
if I didn't, try hard.
That's really good to know because people they want a change, they want something to happen.
And it's on us.
They're expecting for something, but that's really good. You made it happen. Awesome. So you got in contact with
With these people, yes,
Yeah.
with La Mega, and I, showed them again what I was doing, what I like to do. I did get a little bit of pushback in my early career when I came to the United States, just because my accent from Argentina is very strong and it's very, very different from other Latin American
Yes.
countries. So every time that I would go to like an audition or to like an interview, they will be like, can you sound a little bit more Mexican? Can you make? So that was like
That's so
always,
funny.
That's what always happened to me, and I was always very frustrated because I was like,
I bet. It's like no.
Yeah, it
why?
was-
Like,
it
I'm
was
not
changing
Mexican.
myself, and I understand, like we
Yes.
have to be neutral, like,
Yes.
but at the same time, I didn't want to lose my, who I was.
Yes.
And it happens to me a lot. Like people will be like, also you don't look Mexican enough, but you don't look white either. So who are you? What are you? So
yes,
and
of
because
course.
this type of job is like your voice, your face, your looks. It matters so much. It's because you're
Yes.
exposed so much. It's not that I'm just writing and nobody knows who I am, but
Yes.
it means so much.
Yes, you're the face.
That people was
of
always
what's going on.
judgy, like on that sense. So that's what I always felt like maybe I could have done more, but because of where I was from, I had more stops because they were like, oh, people won't relate with you just because you don't
that,
because
yes.
you don't look like them or like
Yes.
so it's been hard.
So how did you shake that off or brush it off? Because they're like, you know what, Augustina,
It was hard. I'm not gonna lie, and it took
Yeah.
a couple of years to understand. Like right now, I feel like I'm more mature than I was before, and now I understand. Like, and people is different. I feel like now people is they value now the diversity, and they value
of course.
people being different, and
Yes.
they are being more open about it. But that was not always the case, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I'm sure, like if I knock doors now, it's gonna be easier than what it was before.
That's awesome. I'm glad you kept
Pushing.
But yes, of
Fighting.
course. Yes, fighting, keep going forward. Awesome. And has there ever been a time that, like this, you said it was frustrating.
Yes.
Did you ever get to a time where it's like, maybe this is not me. Maybe I should try something else. Like, like.
Time you want to give up, and I feel like I'm sure it happens to people that wants to be a sports person or an actress or there's not room for many, and most of the time we have to do other type of jobs to sustain ourselves because this would not give us money unless we make it like super big, but for most of us it doesn't. So many times I'm like I will think to myself, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I think I'm good, but I guess I'm not because it's not happening to me, so I guess I'm not good,
exactly.
so I will like put myself down.
Yes. Yeah.
But it happens to all of us. So, to whoever that is watching, on the other side, I want them to know that, we all have different journeys. And we are not all going to be like, Ellen, or we're not all going to be messy. It's like there's only one of them, and that's okay, and that's fine.
That's good. That's really awesome. So, what? There was something I was about to say about that, but let's go with what is your favorite part of being a TV presenter?
My favorite part is doing something that people need. It's like with the news in that sense, and especially now, for example, for the Hispanic community, there's so much that they need to know and they deserve to know or to be informed.
Yeah, that's right.
And they don't have a how or who that will give that to them.
Yes.
That's for me. That's very important.
That's right.
Because that's a need.
Everything's in English, and then, well, I think, but then when they watch the Spanish news,
yes. So that's why I feel like definitely there's a need, and just like giving that to others, being that person that could bring, like knowledge or inform others. I think that's like huge.
That's awesome. That's
it's
really
very
good.
Important.
I just remembered what it was. So when you went to the groceries, or when you went, I don't know, to the park, did you ever get, it's Augustina?
It did not, like in the grocery and stuff, I would notice, like, when I was in Florida, that I was working for the Hispanic community, I would notice, like, some Hispanic people would be like, is she? I don't know.
Like,
is that the sticker?
You're like, yes, it's.
But like I said, I had an office job also in this hospital, and I remember just being on the computer doing my work. And one of the physical therapists that I used to work with, her mother, only speaks Spanish, so she used to only watch, like the news and on the channels in Spanish. So she said, like, oh, I was making breakfast to my mother, and then I look at the TV and I see you. She's like, I didn't know that you did that, So people started like recognizing and seeing, and it's nice, like the recognition and people to know what you do, because you're proud of doing it. But at the same time, it's just like very crazy, just because it's just me, and I just like go to sleep like anybody else, have to wake up, brush my teeth, and just go to my job like any other job. So it's like it's just a normal life, from us, but maybe for others it's different.
Of course, because you have that connection.
Yeah,
like you see the news, it's like, wow, I feel like I know that person.
Yes.
And they know me, so when they see you,
they're like,
hey, it's me. Like,
but and then also happens that there's people that they have no idea who you are, but if they see you outside, with a microphone and they see a camera, they're like, oh, she's from the TV, so let's go take a selfie with her. I have no idea who she is, but I want to take a selfie with a girl from the TV,
So has it ever happened where there's people in the back doing, or like, like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know why people do that, to be honest.
I don't know.
Like, here they are at home, like, don't do that. It's just because
I know, come on,
you don't look great.
I know.
But yeah, that happens a lot. Usually when you go to events where, with the community or like concerts or stuff like that, you will have people in the background, and some people just want to like appear
So
there.
was there certain pass, like if you went to a concert, did you have to pay the same, or were you like, I'm sorry, I'm the news?
Yes, usually you get free access just because because.
Do you still have that?
No.
Oh man, that'd be
Only
great.
to the places that we're gonna cover. That's where they give you like free access.
Oh really?
Yes. But of course, you have perks. Like sometimes you have a very good view just because they are like, oh, they want you to film like the nicest part, so you are like super, like close or stuff like that. But it's good, but it's different too. You don't enjoy it as much just because you're working,
Yeah.
So you're there for work, but it's like you try to, you
try to enjoy it as much as you can. That's awesome. Well, Augustina is here. Augustina Lotts. I'm going to give time for the audience if they have any questions, anything they'd like to ask Augustina. You can write it in the chat, and I'll get to them. I got some fun questions, Augustina. This is brought to you by Cooking with Claudia.
Okay.
Fridays at 3 o'clock. What is your favorite food?
That's so hard. I used to love pasta and everything that is, like carbs. But I love vegetables. So I don't like. I like everything. There's nothing that I don't like from like vegetables, and I could just be a vegetarian and just live through like vegetables and fruits.
Really?
It doesn't even have to be elaborated. Just like a simple salad, or just like boil a potato and a sweet potato. Like and I'm fine with it. Like I don't need anything crazy, but I just love my vegetables and my fruits. So I don't know why I always. I don't know how or why, but I always like ate very healthy.
That's
I do not
great.
work out. I do not move my body, and that's bad. I need to like move myself. But I never, like I said, I was very bad in sports. I don't like it, so I never went to the gym or run. And I know that I'm getting older. I should just, for good health.
Yeah, get moving.
Get my body moving. But I always ate very healthy, so that's something that
Wow, vegetables.
Just like give me a salad, and that will be my favorite food.
Oh, wow. That's the first. That is the first. Vegetables, your favorite food. Awesome. Okay, here we go. You can never stop smiling when.
I can never stop smiling when. Maybe when I'm singing in the car with my kids on the back. I just really enjoy, and this kind of like quirky maybe or silly, but I love putting some Disney songs on the car, like super loud, and just sing all the Disney songs to my kids.
What's the favorite Disney song?
Well, right now, like with girls, I have 2 girls, so right now, Frozen and Frozen 2 is like, all they want.
Into the Unknown?
Into the Unknown, yeah. So on my way coming here, we were all singing Into the Unknown, and I love to sing. I haven't sung in forever, but I love to sing. So that's what yes, I love to sing.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's what I love, and I will be like smiling in the car and just singing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Great. Did you ever sing in front of the camera?
Not in front. Well, yes and no. I used to have a band when I was a teenager.
No way.
Yes, I used to be in a band. So if you look me up with my maiden name, that is Collado or Collado. Yes.
Collado, okay.
You're gonna find some like videos from when I was a teenager, like singing, and I used to have a band, like I said. I would just sing.
What was the name of the band?
I had a couple. So Alchemia, Melange, like I had like a couple of bands. Usually I was like the only girl and just like boys, playing instrument and me singing. I will be the singer. And I always usually most of my friends are boys and not girls. I don't know why. But I used to sing a lot. I used to have my band. Always covers. I never written anything myself. But I used to enjoy that, going to weddings and do like wedding receptions or like in hotels or stuff like that.
Oh, wow, that's so awesome.
And that will give me like a little bit of extra money too, because it was like, that was my gig on the weekends, just go singing in places.
Do you still do that? If somebody?
No, I tried. So it's funny. I found an app that you can find people that has your same interests. And I found a girl, and her description was like hilarious because it was my life. When I found her, I told my husband like, my God, like she's myself, but from Japan, because she's Japanese. So she came to the United States. She used to have a band when she was in Japan. Now she's a mother. She has 2 little girls, and life and things. She wasn't able to do it again. So, but she was trying to like find other adults, that had like the same interests, just to like make a band and form a band. So I reached out to her. We were able to rehearse, a couple of songs, and we were able to sing. And we did like a small little show before COVID here in Columbus.
Really?
And then COVID came, and then we were not able to get together again.
Man.
But that's a hobby. That's another passion of mine that I have that I used to do, when I was younger.
Wow, that's hidden talent right there.
Yes, but it's like, it's something that makes me feel good.
Yes.
I just, see it as a hobby.
But yeah, it's a way to express yourself.
A way to express myself.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yes. Wow, that's awesome, Augustina. I like that. Singing. See, I would always tell the guys, if I can sing, I wouldn't be working here.
You will be traveling in
Yes,
tour.
I'd be traveling the world. Yes.
Yes, no, I love to sing.
That's awesome. I like that. Your favorite superhero?
I don't think I ever seen any superhero movies, so I have no idea. I will say Wonder Woman just because it's the only one that I know, and it's a woman. So.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, Wonder Woman right here.
Woman.
Yes, you've been all over the place. Here we go. If you had one wish.
One wish.
One wish. What would it be? Okay, so let's see.
I will say, I think a lot of people would say this, but just, poverty, is like a huge, thing in our world. So just making sure that every kid in the world has a plate of food on their, on their table,
definitely.
like that would be a wish,
that'd be awesome.
It would be amazing if, we could do that, but.
That's awesome. That's really good. I like that. At the end of the rainbow, Augustina, when you see a rainbow, at the end of the rainbow, what is there?
I think I see my family at the end of the rainbow. I just see, having a party at my parents' house and my cousins and like everybody. That's something that I miss a lot, Latin families. We come from very big families. We get together with all our cousins, all our uncles, aunts, grandparents, the dog, the cat, like everybody, together. And we are like 40, 50 people every Sunday, I miss that, since my family is not here I have my mom and dad here in the United States, but that's it. I miss those gatherings. So maybe, the end of the rainbow, I just see that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Every time you see your rainbow, you think of just the cousins and feels and all them. Your dream vacation spot.
My dream vacation spot. I will go back to my childhood.
Yes.
So I used to go a lot to Brazil with my family, mom, dad, and brothers. So maybe just going back to like a beach in Brazil, I would love to like go back to those.
Yes, of course. That's awesome. So did you ever, that reminds me, did you ever travel with your job? Or was that something like, I know you said you did it in Jacksonville or in Cleveland, but did you ever go like,
it was not because of my work, like I usually, I work usually like in local stations, and I didn't have to travel far, maybe to cover something, but no more than farther than an hour away.
Say, hey, I'm going to go to Hawaii with the company's money?
No, and, no. It would have been great, but no. So it usually was like no more than an hour away, that I had to travel.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. We have a couple of questions from the audience. Can you see yourself relocating for your career in the near future? So
I don't think it's gonna happen in the near future. If I would like it, yes. I'm not afraid of change. If you tell me like tomorrow we have to move to, I don't know, Africa, I will go. Close eyes. I don't care. I'm not afraid of like starting over. I'm not afraid of change. If you have to tell me like you don't have your job anymore, you're going to be doing this, I'm just like excited. I get like super excited.
That's awesome.
I'm really bad with like routines and things being always the same. I always like to like spice things up, mix it out because I get bored.
Because that's a lot for us. We like routine. It's like I have my rhythm at 9 o'clock. I get up, get my coffee.
Yeah. So if you tell me that I have to move, I will love it. I will love the idea, but I don't think there's anything right now in the near future that is going to make me move again.
That's awesome. Wow. Let's go. Vámonos. Okay. Would you ever consider doing broadcasting in English?
Now, look, this is my first time doing an interview in English. It's my first time like speaking for so long in English, and I feel like I'm getting more comfortable.
Yes.
If you have asked that question to me maybe 6 months ago, I would have said like no, I'm terrified. But right now, I feel like I'm getting better. Of course, I have an accent, and that's not gonna go away. My vocabulary needs to grow, but I feel a little bit better.
You sound Argentinian. You got to sound more American. You got to practice.
I just, and like I said, now I'm getting older, so I'm starting to have less patience. Like before, I will get sad, and I will be like, oh, people don't like me, or I'm not good enough.
Yes.
Like right now, I'm getting older, and I'm like, okay, you didn't like it? Sorry, I'm going to do something else. But you get that confidence with the years, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess the more you do it, the more practice, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing great. I think she's doing great in English. We don't need to put subtitles.
Yeah, maybe people on the other side are like,
people are like, so what does she do again? How important is school for a job such as journalism and broadcasting?
I think it is important. I think like education, it doesn't have to be formal education. I'm not saying like you have to go to the university. That would be really good, if you are able to go to the university. But studying and educating yourself, it's key for anything that you want to do. So yes, you got to go and study. Even if you do it on your own, even if you buy your own books, just like go to YouTube and watch videos, like stay all night, like writing and studying, you have to do it. You know, like I said, it's not that you need the formal education and title. You know, if you get it, even better. But I think like things are changing, and formal education is not as it was before.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. I was gonna say something again, but again, it just
It
went
just went
away.
away.
Yes, I'll remember it in a little bit. What is the most nervous moment you ever had while in front of the camera?
I remember last election. Um, 4 years ago, I was working for Univision, and I had to cover the local elections, so governors, you know,
Oh
like,
man.
and it was something that I was not very comfortable. You know, I didn't have too much knowledge about it, and I had to like study very hard a couple of days prior just to like say it right, you know, and it was live. So I was absolutely terrified to do that. So they just asked me, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Sure." I used to say, I say
Say
yes
sure
to
to
everything just because I
Yes.
want to be there and I want to do it. So I usually say yes. But then I'm like, okay, well now I have to study
Why
because
did-
why did I say
say
that?
yes?
So. And of course, like pronouncing the names wrong or things like that, I was scared. But yeah, I did it, and it was good, and I'm glad I did it.
That's awesome. You know what? Something I just realized is that you're up for change. Most people are not up for change, and you just say yes.
Yes.
Like even though you're nervous, even though you're not sure. Yes. Okay. Let's do it.
Sometimes it's the only way you have to learn, and more if
Exactly.
if you don't have the opportunity to go to school, to go to the university. That you know that would be ideal, but not everybody has that. You know,
Yes.
that opportunity. You have to make yourself. You know,
Yeah.
so you have to just go do it. That's the only way to learn.
You're right. You have to let everyone know. Hey, look, I'm here. This is what I can do.
Yes.
I'm up for it. That's great. I like that. As a teenager, where would you recommend starting off here in Columbus? I don't know if starting off. If you want to be broadcasting, do you?
I know that there's a broadcasting school.
Okay.
I think it's called Ohio Media School. So definitely, I will, you know, just search for media schools. Community college, you know, even starting, you know, with like journalism, and you just need to, you know, make sure that you are know a little bit of everything.
So are you involved, or do you know I guess there's one station. All I know is maybe one land station.
There is
Land
Sola
station.
Mega. That is what I did a little bit of
that the one
work.
that's right here in Columbus?
It's here in Columbus too.
Oh, really?
I have some contacts there, but you know, I feel like I started liking even more TV more than radio, so that's why I just put it in pause and didn't like keep reaching out to do that, because I feel like now that I'm in a different point of my life, I'm starting to really think what I really want to do. And in the back of my mind, there's always like, oh, maybe I can just generate some content, you know, on my phone, like, you know, with Instagram, YouTube. There's so much stuff that we can do. There's a lot of work involved with that, of course.
Yeah, that's so much work.
But and I'm sure because you're doing it and you know how much you need.
Yeah. Oh man. So what is the most important quality as a TV presenter? Most important quality that you need.
Like any communication job, I feel like being a good listener, you know, listen to what's happening outside in the world, being honest. I think like honesty and the truth is so important. So we are in a world right now that is very scary because there's so many like fake news around. Social media is like terrible for that because there's so many like, you know, posts that people like share and stuff that they don't even know if it's true, you know. And then there's a million of people like reading it and thinking, and there's so much like lies around. So I think, you know, like the most important thing right now is just to be honest, to be truthful, to share what's really like what, you know, what is really happening, you know, just be conscious, you know, of those things.
Oh man, Augustina, I've had a good time with you, getting to walk in your shoes and just see how how it is, you know, behind the scenes, behind the cameras, editing, and just the whole. Now that you sing,
Yes.
anything else?
I'm not gonna sing here today. I
Oh,
haven't
that'd
sung
be-
in like 7 years, but maybe,
I would
maybe
sing,
next time.
but I want to keep my job. Is there anything you would like to say, or anything? Um,
No, it's for any young person on the other side. I would just I'm not even young, like anybody, no matter in what stage in your life you are, but
Yes.
just follow your dreams. Even if you are doing something different, even if you have your office job, even if you have like, don't leave. Life is one. So
Yes.
try to find a space for yourself. Try to find a
Yeah.
space, self-care, a space for you where you can express yourself, where you can
Yes.
be who you want to be. Because if not, you're going to regret it,
Of
Yes.
course. Is there anything you regret?
I don't think I have any regrets, no.
No.
I think I will do the same all over again.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Yes.
I bet. That's awesome. Guys, you guys were in a walk in my shoes with here, listening to Augustina Lotts. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Augustina, for taking time with us. I really enjoyed it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week on Wednesday. We'll do it again. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.